Honestly, you guys, I've been alone and I have experienced some loneliness, but I'm not completely lonely. Spending lots and lots and lots of time with myself. Some of my friends like to say I'm isolating, and honestly I am. I'm just in a season where I'm just really like putting me first and becoming a different person. Just kind of carve it out. Oh God. I'm gonna just leave some butter in the center because we're baking here. But part of me feels like it'd be a little bit better if I melted the butter on here. She did a lot of granola. Hi girls. What's up? Welcome to Saturday. It's not freaking Saturday, Khadijah. Welcome to a Friday in my life. I'm gonna light my little candle. This is the vanilla pumpkin scented candle from Trader Joe's, and it absolutely smells incredible, and I really smell it in the entire space. So we're gonna light this really quickly. Before I throw these matches away, I always pour water on them and then throw it away because you'd be surprised how not common that is. To make sure there's no lituation going on in this house, okay? Your girl is truly just vibing. I bought these new PJs today and I'm loving them. It was a long week, and now we're back and we're in our groove. The weekend is my time to rejuvenate and restore because during the week I'm literally out. And when I say out, I'm like at school. Wait, there's something on my laptop. It's fine. I'm at school, I'm talking to people, I'm being very social, and then the weekend is the time that I like to just stay and just cozy up. I went on a walk earlier. It was so nice, very refreshing for my mental health, thank ya. And then I went to the grocery store, went to Trader Joe's, and now we're in the house and we're gonna make a little bit of dessert. Why can I not talk? We're gonna make some dessert. I'm feeling very fall festive, so let's make this apple crumble together. But let's get all our ingredients while we chat and just be girls.
Here's all the ingredients you're gonna need to make your apple crumble. You're gonna need 1 apple, some honey, granola, butter, and your yogurt. So one thing that inspired me to make this was the fact that September is coming to an end and we are in fall officially. I'm so happy. It's my birthday month. It's the time we can watch Gilmore Girls endlessly and just literally be so grounded and not feel like we have to be rushing, and just slow down and embrace being in our peace and just really having time alone. I think that's so important as young women. And one thing I realized is that baking is that activity for me where I can just fully just be in my thoughts and be able to create with my hands and to be very intentional and create something with love. So let's get into it.
Okay, so we are back and we have all the ingredients. I'm super excited because I've been dreaming about this apple crumble all week. All right, so for the ingredients, you're gonna need an apple, you're gonna need your organic yogurt. This is the creamy cashew from Trader Joe's. It's honestly not my favorite, but for the sake of the apple crumble, it will do. And yeah. And then I got some chocolate sea salt, Purely Elizabeth. It has probiotics in it, and I love this brand, Purely Elizabeth. It's so yummy to me, and one of the best granolas I've had in a very long time, besides the one that I home make. And then also got some honey. So first, what we're gonna do, what inspired me to make this crumble dessert situation was I was on TikTok and I follow this creator. Her name is Shania, and she has a twin sister, and they made this dessert. It came across my For You page, and I was like, this feels very fall, this feels very me. I love a good dessert. I feel like baking is so fun for me. And it's a way that I can literally just pour love into something. That's how I feel. I feel like baking is a good escape, if you will. So, but, oh my God, I think I did it wrong. I cut the apple. Okay, whatever. Oh my God, I shouldn't have cut the apple. I think we're just supposed to scoop out the bad stuff. Okay, not the bad stuff. I think we're supposed to just scoop out the inside, so that's what I'm gonna do. Is kind of carve it out. Oh God. This is harder than it looks. I'm gonna do a little bit of surgery on this. Okay, there we go. I'm just gonna cut this. And then cut this. Like that. Okay, so we have it cut. It looks a little wonky, but nobody's perfect. Wait, to make it even, I'm just gonna cut this flat. Like that. So I made it even. Boom. I'm gonna eat these pieces. You guys, I love apples so much, but okay. So we have the apple, and so we're gonna do butter. We're gonna butter it up, and that's actually surprisingly easier than I thought to butter up an apple. I've never done this before. It's kind of fun because it feels kind of wrong, but it's like right, you know? I'm gonna just leave some butter in the center because we're baking here. But part of me feels like it'd be a little bit better if I melted the butter on here. Okay, maybe I'm just a butter-holic. All right, now that we have entered the butter in places that it's hard to put butter into, we're gonna add some cinnamon. This is already gonna be my favorite dessert, you guys, because I love cinnamon. Okay, maybe I put too much cinnamon. We're gonna add the granola. She did a lot of granola. This is chocolate granola, you guys. Okay, it's not staying. Maybe I should have cut it flat. And then we're gonna add honey across. Okay, so she's gonna go in the oven, so let me go get the pan real quick. We're waiting for the oven to heat up. So, in the meantime, I guess I just wanna give you guys an update about what's been going on in my week, in my life, what's happening. Honestly, you guys, it has been a very lonely time. I've been alone and I have experienced some loneliness, but I'm not completely lonely. I have been just doing school, honestly, and spending lots and lots and lots of time with myself. Some of my friends like to say I'm isolating, and honestly, I feel like I am. And I'm just in a season where I'm just really like putting me first and like just really becoming a different person. And I say that in a sense, it's just like I've been just really looking into my discipline and my habits and growing as a woman and making better decisions and really holding myself accountable in terms of my character and not allowing like my old things or things that I had experienced in the past to affect where I am today or like where I'm headed. And it's funny because I feel like, especially after watching Love Island and how so many people advocated for Huda and advocated for so many different behaviors, people love to make excuses for why they're like why people are not emotionally mature or why they don't feel like they need to be held to a higher standard when it comes to how you interact with people. And it's interesting because everybody has their own traumas and everybody has their own shit that they've dealt with, but that doesn't give you an excuse to be like a shitty person or to act out. And granted, I can see why people make, you know, why they're more forgiving to some people like Hutto or people like Shelly or whatever, right? Like in terms of choosing sides, because to be honest, like I didn't really choose sides all the way when it came to Love Island, because I mean, obviously, like, first of all, I knew it was edited. On top of that, it's just like the reason the characters, and like not even to just get back into Love Island again, because like that's not the point of this conversation, but I feel like the reason a show like Love Island was so good is because we've all been a Hutta, we've all been a Shelly, we've all been an Alandra. Like they were such good characters, but obviously they were real people in real life, so it was just like, damn. But I feel like being our age and being at the point where you've done the crash outs, or maybe you're still doing the crash outs, or you feel like my childhood is the reason I act like this and that, like baby, we are grown. Like it's to the point where there's so much more accountability we need to like take into account, and just like really holding ourselves to a higher standard, and also allowing ourselves to just evolve as people and not continuing to play into old narratives that like we held on to in the past. And maybe it's because I'm just been in my own bubble, and like just being in a new city, it really does expose me to so much. You girls, I've met so many different types of people living in Miami, so many successful people, so many people who are struggling, so many like from all different walks of life. And it's really interesting because it's shown me who's who, and it's shown me like in moments of like defining your character, and in moments of like being the person that wants to be set apart, and that person that like does A, B, and C, has no excuses about it, and just whatever it takes. Like this city has grown me so much, and it's shown me that in order to really get what I want, there does have to be a point of like my own personal like ego death, in terms of like how I react to things, what things have triggered me. There's been so many things that have come up, you guys, that I had experienced before, that I was not like, cry me a river, like this has happened and blah blah blah, like, and it's been such an interesting growing pain. You guys know how when they talk about like the Miami effect and how people come here and they sink or they swim, that shit is so real. You literally sink or you swim. And it's funny because I don't necessarily know if I'm in the thick of it, but I do feel like I'm in a space where I'm changing so much, and I'm changing very fast, and I'm acknowledging that my change is happening so quickly. Number one, because when you move to a different city and you put yourself in an environment to thrive, and you make it to where like your lifestyle and your habits are literally things that are going to help you elevate, that you're going to rise and you're going to fill up that space.
Okay, she's in the oven, and I put her on 400 degrees and baked her for about 10 to 12 minutes. But once the granola got darker, that's when I started to take it out.
Okay, we put it on for 10 minutes. Let's get back to the chat. But like I was saying, you guys, I know that like being here is making me like realize like the world is so much bigger than my small town that I was from, and there's so many more things and spaces to occupy and things to care about, and there's so many different people from so many different walks of life. And the reason that people like wake up every day, everybody like has their own why, and your life is about figuring out why you wake up every day and what you're passionate about, and paying attention to yourself. And the moment that I realized that there was so much more out there than just what I had known, and just like being out here and realizing the different, I would say like struggles that I've experienced in terms of, my hair is coming down. The different like struggles I experienced in terms of like comfortability, and you know, just getting out there and like just seeing more. It has been such a humbling experience. Like being in Miami is one of those places that like is growing me, and it's one of those places it's like you have no choice but to grow. And it's funny because I feel like for a really long time, like I had been wanting like a big change in my life. I felt like what the things I was doing before, the people who I was hanging out with before, not all of them, because there's some people that I like literally know who I will literally cherish and forever cherish, and I'm so grateful that I crossed paths with them. But there were some people that I was like, I felt like I was in between like my future self and my old self, and I was always like forced to choose. And I feel like certain people that I had dealt with from my past, like I'm so grateful that like that time had came and went, pretty much, you know, because there's always going to be like people who come into your life and you're like, okay, you're here for a season. And then there's people who come into your life and you're like, okay, you're here for a reason. And it's funny because I had really experienced that before. And I feel like it was just interesting because it's not like anybody was like a bad person. It's just like when you don't know who you are and you don't know your vision for your life, you're going to hang around and do things and be around certain people that doesn't necessarily align with who you're meant to be, because you don't know who you want to be. Like, you're unsure, you're not taking the right steps, you don't have the right mindset surrounding what you want, and maybe you haven't made a clear why of like what you want. So if you feel like you're in a similar season to me and you feel like you're just in the season where you're alone and you're unsure and you're feeling like you're suffering, honestly, sometimes that season is so necessary for your growth and for your forward development as a woman, because that season is going to teach you that you are resilient, you are worthy, you are powerful, and you are able to emotionally take yourself to a certain level on your own. Like, there is no true, or there's no better feeling than experiencing one of the lowest lows mentally and feeling like, how will I overcome something? And then you get there and you overcome it. You're like, oh my God, I'm that bitch. Like, I fucking overcame this mental challenge, whatever it is. Whatever it is. Maybe you just went through the biggest breakup of your life. You felt like this person was the person you were gonna marry. You built a whole mental picture of you guys' wedding and all this stuff, and you guys break up. And now you're over here, you're starting from scratch, and you're like, what the fuck? Or maybe you dropped out of school and you're like, I'm literally at this place where I dropped out of school. I don't know what I'm doing. Nothing makes sense. My parents are telling me I'm gonna be a failure. Or maybe you just put all your money into this business and the business seems like it's going to fail. But that true idea about failure is just a concept. If you never quit, you never can fail. And I'm telling you this from experience, you guys. I literally don't quit on myself. I literally tell myself week by week, day by day, you are successful, you have a vision, you are headed on this great path, you know exactly what you want, you know exactly who you are. And when I tell myself these things, I give myself these affirmations, I do my meditations, I go to the gym, I journal in my notebook, and I continue to have this confidence, and I look myself in the mirror and I say, today's the day. Today is going to be a great day. Today is going to be the day that you change your life. When I wake up and I do that every single day, that builds my self-trust, that builds my discipline, that builds my gratitude, which creates more abundance in my life, and that just makes me feel like, you know what? If I can only control what I can control, if I can put great vibrations and joy into the world, and I can pray to God every single day, and I can get on my knees and I can say, thank you, God, for everything you've done for me in this life, and I name them off and I just express my gratitude, that is how my life begins to change. And I feel like if you're in a season where you're having low lows, trust me when I tell you, if you hang on and you just continue to seek out good vibes and you do things that are truly fulfilling you and like who you are, and you do little by little actionable tasks that make you feel whole
and asking yourself, like, what are some things that I like? What are things that I care about? What are things that I pay attention to? If you're not sure about things that you like, or you're not sure who you are outside of, let's say, your friends, for instance. Let's say you have a friend group and you're like, okay, like, what do I care about outside of my friend group? Like, who am I as a woman? If I'm not on the phone with my homegirl, or we're not going to get coffee together, who am I? If you just like sit and you take a look at your Pinterest board, or let's say your YouTube subscription page, the last saved videos on your TikTok, that is you at your core. And if you can look at all this stuff and you're like, oh my gosh, I love that I love these things. I love that I have this inspiration for this China collection, or I love the girls who paint their nails like this, or I love this. Like, you can start leaning into that, and that is who you are at your true essence and at your true core. And one thing I actually did today, oh my gosh, you guys, my dessert is smelling so yummy. It looks like I have 1% left on here. Hold on.
This is what the apple crumble looks like. It looks very crumbly, but we're gonna add my organic creamy cashew. Also, my DJI died, unfortunately, so let's do this. We're gonna add more honey and more cinnamon. This is what she looks like, so we're gonna try it, and then I'll get back to my little talk that I was giving you. Ooh, wait, this is hard. Can I cut this? I have to cut it. Okay. These are big pieces. I feel like I could have baked the apple longer. But that's good. With the crumble. Anyways, y'all, I just finished my desserts. I forgot what I was saying. I was on my little rant. I was on my college girl rant. But yeah, my dessert was good. I didn't finish it all because that's big back activities, and we're not doing that over here, okay, baby? But I just want to say, why is this so overexposed? This is better. Just disregard all the nonsense in the back. But I just want to say that you need to keep your head up, and when you're feeling lonely, you need to lean into that, and you need to tell yourself, I'm never lonely because I have God in my life. And you have to lean into that and start looking at ways that you can enjoy being alone. When you're first alone, more often, it's going to feel very uncomfortable and you're going to feel like you need people. But the reality is that you don't always need to be around people. You don't always need that comfort. You just need to embrace it and work through the emotions and let them come up, because the sooner you let the lonely emotions come up, then you allow yourself to become more free, and you become the type of woman that is able to stand alone, that is able to sit alone, and you don't always need to have the emotional dependency of other people. And that is how you're going to be more productive and get more things done, because you're not going to always need that crutch, and you're going to be more confident as a woman when you are able to stand alone more, because there's always going to be a time that comes in your life when you're going to have to stand alone on some decisions, and that's the reality. And I feel like that is what separates being a young lady or a little girl to a grown woman. So yeah, I know all the other stuff on TikTok and that makes people seem like, oh, like I feel grown, but truly embracing your freedom, your alone time, and so many other habits help us to shape who we are. So I'm about to call it a night and clean up all of this little mess that I made. And yeah.